The 2016 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray Coupe. This is the C7 Corvette you can buy today compared to its C6 predecessor. This car is leaps and bounds better, not only in exterior styling, but also in interior quality and performance. To this day, this is still in many ways a bargain supercar. Welcome to this latest episode of Car Buzz Unboxing Reviews, and we're super excited to bring this car for you today because it's one of our favorites. And we also want to thank DGDG.com for letting Car Buzz come on down and film this for you today.
This is a very special car.
It is.
For a lot of Americans, for a lot of people that grew up, in the 70s, this was a car. For a lot of teenagers, this was a car it was their first car.
Well, it was maybe not necessarily their first car, because the Corvette was always kind of expensive. Perhaps it was their first introduction to high-performance American style.
Fair enough.
And remember, the Corvette, the C1, came out in 1954 originally, around that time, 54, 55, and it's just evolved over the years. If you recall, the Ford Thunderbird, actually, the original Thunderbird, was meant to be a competitor to the Corvette.
Well,
they killed it off, and it sort of became this luxury coupe convertible, while the Corvette just remained a two-seater the entire time.
Now, a lot of people make the mistake of calling a Corvette a muscle car. We always hear that, don't we?
Well, listen to this engine. Yeah, so you bring up a really good point. The Corvette, no, it's not a muscle car, even though that engine you just heard, it is the LT1 6.2-liter small block V8, 455 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. In this car, power is sent to, obviously, the rear wheels through an 8-speed automatic transmission.
Yeah, so the block is obviously a powerful beast, but why do people call this a muscle car sometimes?
Well, because they don't know what a muscle car is. Remember, a muscle car has a small rear seat, and you got to think back, what was the Ford Mustang originally? They kind of called it like a secretary's car.
Right.
And then they just started adding power to it, added V8 power. Carroll Shelby saw that car's potential.
Is it maybe because also the Corvette was originally just fast in a straight line and wasn't really known as a great handling car? They've sorted that out in the latest generation.
Yeah, I mean, the Corvette, it's by the early 1960s when the Porsche 911 first came out, it was the Corvette and the 911 that were the competitors at the time.
Okay.
And
now what's the competition? That's
a very good question. Now, with this particular Corvette here, this is still the base Corvette Stingray. It's got some optional packages here, but it does not have the Z51 performance package, which adds things such as performance brakes, an aero pack, a Z51 suspension, an electronic limited slip differential, meaning it's a little more of an intense car.
Okay, so if you had all that stuff...
Right, if you had all that stuff, you'd be closer to Porsche 911 territory. But this car does not have it. It doesn't make this Corvette a bad Corvette, not by any means. But if you just compare as close as you can, apples to apples, performance, pricing, you're going to get into Porsche 718 Cayman S and 718 Boxster S territory.
But that's a bit smaller, right? This is quite a big car compared to that.
It's bigger, but not a whole lot. I mean, if you put them side by side, don't compare size automatically. You got to look at what the car's capabilities are.
They're very different personalities as well.
Very different personalities. But then again, there's also the Jaguar F-Type S with the supercharged V6, not the V8. Also, if you compare pricing and horsepower, it's going to be kind of similar here.
Okay. It's a good trio of cars to choose between those.
Now, if you want to go even higher, for an example, if you want to compare today's C7 Corvette to a Porsche 911, I would honestly at least compare the Corvette Grand Sport.
Okay, which came out, what, last year?
It just came out, and it's just going out.
No, it came out in Geneva this year, right?
Right, we saw it in Geneva.
Okay.
And then there was also the Z06.
Which is, you couldn't compare that to the 911 GT3, right?
Right, you're getting it. Yeah, I think
close?
so.
Yeah?
Yeah, very close. Even the Grand Sport. Ah.
That is a monster.
I love it how Chevy is just stuck with these small block engines. Over the years, they're bulletproof, they're reliable, and
get a lot of power out of that car.
Yeah, 0 to 60 miles per hour, 3.8 seconds.
But I remember seeing these tuned, and I've seen people tune this to 1,000 horsepower.
Easily, and that's why tuners and even Hennessy, they love these small block V8s. There's so much potential there. They're easy to work on. And like I said, they're just bulletproof. And with the top speed here in this car, 175 miles per hour.
Now here's the difference between this generation and the previous one.
And
The
the
biggest
C6.
difference.
Oh,
The interior is a proper interior now.
finally they did this. I mean, Corvette interiors up until this were just... They smelled like cheap plastic and glue. I kid you
they
not.
are basically plastic. Like wherever you look, it's just plastic. On like my old man's got a C3 Corvette, and that is just ridiculous how bad it is inside.
Right. Well, this one is much, much better. For an example, some of the extra features it comes with is the carbon fiber interior package that costs an extra $995. Obviously, it adds carbon fiber trim.
I see a Bose speaker there.
Yes, you
So
get
you've got
that.
surround sound.
And then you have an 8-inch color touchscreen. This one also has Napa leather seat inserts, heated and ventilated seats.
What's that, tan leather?
Yeah.
It's almost like a Ferrari inside. You look at that. You know,
Especially with the exterior
yeah,
color.
when you see that, when you open it up at a glance, I mean, obviously the detailing it probably isn't as, high quality, but it's pretty close.
And I just love how it's kind of like that jet fighter cockpit style for the driver. That wraparound dash. It's just so driver focused.
Yeah, it's almost partitioned off with that grab handle on the left
Yeah.
there. It's almost like, that's where all the work's happening.
And he has an 8-speed automatic in this car. Now, when the C7 came out in 2013, it came with a 6-speed automatic.
I remember
So
that.
the 8-speed is new, but it's not a dual clutch. And yet Chevrolet claims it has faster shift times than Porsche's dual clutch.
Interesting.
Which is, yeah, exactly. That's very interesting.
Let's
now,
put that to the test.
yeah, one day. And look at that. That is, the carbon fiber trim.
So
that
is the 8-speed just for better fuel economy?
Absolutely. You get 16 miles per gallon in the city, 29 on the highway, and a combined 20 miles per gallon, which
You can live with that.
easily. And listen, this is a
For
V8
V8
power. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
really, really good.
Yeah.
In this interior, if you haven't sat in a C7 Corvette, you're gonna feel the quality everywhere. Are there a few places perhaps where they cheapened it? Maybe a few, but again, it's getting really nitpicky. And
But for Corvette fans, sorry to interrupt, they're used to just living with basically a subpar interior, and they don't really mind now. It's such a jump forward that even if you were to find a few flaws, they're not going to care.
totally excusable.
They're not going to care at all.
Right. And the best part, though, is that this dramatic increase in interior quality has also not seen, though, a dramatic increase in price.
Right, yeah, they've kept it very affordable, right?
Right. The Corvette, and we're just going to talk about pricing here because this is one of the things that makes the Corvette a Corvette. It has a base price. Right now, the C7, $55,400. You get that standard V8 power, 475 horsepower, 455 horsepower, excuse me, for 55 grand.
Yeah, it's very competitive.
And just to compare here, a base 718 Boxster or Cayman, just the base one with this new inline turbo 4, not the S models, carry a base price of about the same, around $53,000.
So that is your closest rival in terms of price.
Kind of, but it's just to kind of compare how much performance you get in the Corvette to this day. They've been very careful not to increase the price while improving the car as a whole.
Right.
And if you want a more expensive hardcore Corvette, again, you have the Grand Sport, which the Corvette's chief engineer, Taj Yukter, he described to us at Geneva as the Grand Sport is sort of like the purest Corvette. The Z06 is the ultimate Corvette.
More power,
Right, and the Z06 sometimes is too much car for some people. It goes up against the Viper, or maybe even the Viper ACR. It's at that level. So I think maybe the Grand Sport is probably the best Corvette you can get today, and it's so new, we will bring that in as a review as soon as we can.
So purist is what, a bit lighter potentially?
They did a lot of things. They increased the power, cut weight, added a huge, body aero kit.
So it's like in between this one and the Z06.
Well, it's between this. It would have to be the Stingray Z51. This
Right.
does not have the Z51 performance pack. Specifically, this is the 3LT model.
Which gives you what?
It's about an extra $9,000 with the 3LT package. You get a carbon fiber dual roof package for an extra $3,000. We'll demonstrate that in a moment as well, and just several other things, as well as magnetic ride control for an extra $3,500. Now, magnetic ride control is one of the best suspension systems in the world. Ferrari and Audi with the 458, the R8, they all use a version of magnetic ride control.
Their own version.
Their own version of it, but still the principle of it is exactly the same.
Okay.
And Corvette has it.
Awesome.
Along with some Camaros.
But I love that finish actually. Torch red.
Oh.
Classic with black wheels.
Yes.
I think that'd actually be my chosen combination.
And those black wheels, actually, they cost a bit extra. The black painted wheels, they're 19-inch wheels up front, 20-inch wheels at the rear. It's standard 18-19.
When this car came out, I remember there was a styling feature that people were really, polarized opinion. I think it was the exhaust at the back, right?
Not so much the exhaust, it was the rear taillights.
It was the taillights?
Because they were round, and now they've been...
That's it, they squared them off.
They squared them off. Now they're angled now, but what's funny is that...
Have people got used to that now?
I think some of the Corvette purists still won't, but I would like to remind those Corvette purists that Chevrolet designers copied those round taillights back in the day from Ferrari. So it wasn't completely original to the Corvette.
Everyone copies everyone,
right?
Some way or another.
Just to put, here is the carbon fiber dual roof package.
That's carbon fiber?
Yeah,
nice.
Carbon fiber roof. Now it costs an extra $3,000, but it's very much worth it. And what's cool about the Corvette Coupe is that you can remove the tops on all of them.
Hang on, so why is he putting another top on there?
Different color, look at the sides. One was all black.
So why would you change your roof? You'd have one roof, wouldn't you? Why would you keep two roofs? I don't get it.
Well, they're both carbon fiber, and for $3,000 more, you can have one with red trim on the side.
Okay.
You want to change it's cool because you can change the look of the car. You can have a completely blacked out roof, or you can have one with the red trim.
I can dig that.
So it's kind of like, I don't know why you would want to get a convertible, because the coupe just removed the roof.
Yeah, I like
and you
that.
Have like that Target
I prefer, because people are lazy. They want to have an electric roof. They want to just press a button, it comes down.
Adds weight.
No, I like that.
And what's good about the coupe, again, you have this rear hatch design.
Well, it does take up a bit of space.
Right, but this is a decent amount of storage for a car of this size.
Definitely, loads of space, actually. For a car this size, this is actually in a league of its own.
And what's good is that this Corvette, just like all previous Corvettes, but especially the C7 here, it's so livable daily.
Right. Yeah,
you can drive this car on a daily basis, and it just drives really, really well. And because the V8, it has cylinder deactivation. So basically, if you're just driving in traffic,
it drops a few cylinders, and it's like
it drops 4 cylinders. So it acts like a 4-cylinder engine in stop and go traffic to conserve fuel.
That's awesome, yeah.
Right, and again, it's a very livable car, and now with a much better interior, it's just a much better package and overall value.
It's your daily supercar, sports car.
I would call it. You mentioned earlier whether the Corvette was a muscle car. No, it is a high-performance sports car.
Yeah.
Always has been. And
borderline supercar with the Z06.
Right, exactly. And the Z06 is very track-oriented, and as Taj Yukter told me at Geneva, it's not for everybody.
That's still pretty a weekend car. If you wanted a second track car, that would be the Z06. If you want a sports car to live with every day,
go for this Stingray base. And then if you want something even more high performance, a little more intense, but still very usable daily, there's the Grand Sport, which is brand new too. And what's also really interesting is that this Corvette, it's still the typical front engine rear wheel drive. Now, rumors has it the C8 is going to go mid-engine, but what they did with this particular one is that they pushed the engine as far back as possible up front, engineering speak-wise, that it's almost mid-engined. Not quite, but that way with the engine is pushed as far back as they can up front, they got weight down to the middle for better weight distribution.
Right. So you think they're already thinking about a mid-engine car when they made this car?
Well, they've been wanting to do a mid-engine V8, or Corvette, for years, and they just haven't gotten to it, but we'll see in the next couple of years what happens.
Yet anyway, right?
No. But we're out of time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next unboxing review.
Cheers then.